This episode is going to be called Why Salespeople Are Underrated. Now, I had to make this because I've been studying sales since I was like 16 years old, right? And when you're an entrepreneur, you don't realize you're an entrepreneur until pretty much you're unemployable, what they say. Like you can't be hired for a job. So everything that you learn has to generate you money without a job, like because you're not able to get a job. So you're relying on what other people know, right? So if you're relying on what other people know and you can't get a job, who do you go to? You have to go to salespeople because they know how to sell. So you have to read salespeople's books. You have to read salespeople's information because it becomes survival at that point. It's like, okay, I'm not going to get a job. I can't get a job. I don't know job. I know books. I know this. I know Google Ads. I know Facebook. And I'm a digital marketer. But I don't want to get a job as a digital marketer because I can just sell my own services. And then it's like, okay, sell. Oh, that's a trade as well. And it's like, even if you look at schools, right, there's no place you can go and be like, hey, I want to be a salesman, right? It's like, no, you have to go be a salesman at a particular business, right? To be a salesman, you have to go sell cars. To be a salesman, you have to go to a business that's already selling something and sell that business. There's no place for you to go to learn how to sell as a trade. Because to me, selling is a trade. If you look at the psychology of sales, right, and everything you need to know, you can train an empty brain to be a salesman. And just like, oh, I'm a salesman. Like you walk down the street and you're like, oh, I'm a mechanic. Oh, I'm a waiter. Oh, I'm a soldier. Oh, I'm I don't know. I'm a mechanic. I'm a welder. And you're like, oh, I'm a salesman. What do you sell? Everything. Right? It's like, no, you have to be a car salesman or apparel salesman or this salesman. It's like, but salesman to me is a trade because let's say you get fired at a job as a salesman. You can you're already trained on human psychology and what they know. You know how to build rapport. You know how to communicate with people. You know the communication aspect. You know how to be emotional, build emotion, and close easily and make things easy to buy. So once you know the psychology of sales, you just know how to sell things. It don't matter what it is because you know how to sell. And I think that should be embedded in education. Like, I think there should be like little 5-year-old salesmen in kindergarten. Like when they go into school and it's like, oh, we have sales training. Like they got PE. They got PE and they got Bible study and they got, what else they got in school? Like young, I'm trying to think like young. They got math, social studies, right? But that's what I'm saying. So like when I was younger, social studies was considered history. To me, history is important, but sales, like why isn't there sales training for little kids? Like even if there was sales, I feel like if there was sales training for kids, wouldn't conduct be better? Like a kid would be a better kid if he knew how to sell because first he has to sell himself. So he's not going to get into trouble. He's going to get into less trouble because you know what I'm saying? He understands the buying aspect of life, right? So he understands the consequences of someone not buying. And those consequences means that he's going to conduct himself better, right? I mean, I guess it would make more kids like egotistical or something, but what's wrong with that? It's better to be egotistical in a capitalist system than just saying, oh, I just know history and I know, I'm not going to say math, but I'm just saying, I think sales is a good skill to teach kids, because even if they go to school for accounting or if they go to school for whatever they want to be in, they have to sell. You have to sell. Even a job interview is selling. That's why I say sales. It's not just salespeople, but sales, the psychology of sales in general is an underrated aspect of education in the system we live in. So, like me being into this, even being in the field that I'm in, it's not like my psychology is different than most people, because I'm outside of the realm of college education, or like even education in a sense of from kindergarten all the way to college, because my education was different. Like I'm making money on my phone, right? And with sales teams and all these different aspects going on at once. So it's different factors. But if I can't sell, if there's no sales training, then there's nothing, right? Like let's just say, even if someone has sales training and they was like, oh, I'm a cashier. Like that cashier is going to be like the whole business. Like take Walmart in general. Like let's just say everybody in Walmart had sales training and it was just cashiers. And even the customer service. Like you will have less bougie, like uptight, rude customer service people. You'll have less rude cashiers. And then it's like you'll have less rude people in general, because everybody's like at least had some type of sales training in school. It'll just be better. I just think that's what I mean by salespeople are underrated people. And then a lot of people wouldn't hate salespeople. They'd be like, okay, I don't hate him because I understand him. I understand. And then you'll be like, oh, he's just a bad salesman. You'll be like, oh, I'm offended by this. It's like, no, he's just a bad salesman. And everybody acknowledges it because they have that training, right? They have that training. They understand it. It's like somebody who goes and gets their car fixed and it doesn't work right. They're like, oh, it's just a bad mechanic. It's just a bad mechanic. Oh, it's just a bad salesman. Because you understand that aspect without having the bad experience with it. You understand it because you're schooled on it. It's like if somebody gives you the wrong amount of change or they're slow on the change, you'll be like, oh, they're just not good at math. It's okay, you're just not good at math because you've already studied math. Right? That's the same way with sales. And then there'll be less offensive people saying, oh, this is too high. This price is too high. He's selling you. Oh my God, and everybody will just be like, oh yeah, we know, because they have training. They'll be like, oh, we know what he's doing. Is he good? Yeah, he's good, but I just don't have the money to buy. It's not like, oh, I'm offended, he's selling. It's like, no, because you understand sales now. It's like people who call like Dan Lope and like Ty Lopez and all these big, entrepreneurs, right? And they're like, oh, they're all scammers because they're charging you for something that you can't afford. And they posing with Lamborghinis and you're like, oh, it's a scam. It's like, no, it's not a scam. They're getting your attention with the Lamborghini. They're making you emotional. They're thriving on something that you want and you can't have. And then they're selling you a way to get there. That's it. And you have to take action. But if you don't understand sales, then you don't know what they're doing. You just get offended. That's what I mean by sales. Sales training should be in schools. Like, why not? I mean, you teaching people how to, I don't know, PE. You teaching people what, it's people, and you can't be like, oh, but people have to be physically fit. If we don't teach people, like America is like the fattest country in the world, and they teach PE. So you can't say that because they not. It doesn't even work. What they're doing, it don't work. You know what I'm saying? But if people had sales training, like, and they're fat, they don't care because they can make money. So they don't care. They have that in their brains. That's what I mean by sales is a valuable skill to teach. And plus, it catches people's attention because you're teaching dollar signs. You're teaching anything that has to do with a dollar sign symbol. People just pause and they freeze. They're like, oh, okay, let me listen. And then if somebody's good, they'll be like, oh, I want to go to this class. People will be excited to go to class. They'll be like, oh, yeah, we about to learn how to sell. Not we about to learn about George Washington. Right? It's like, I'm gonna teach you how to sell and why people buy. So you walking out the classroom and you already know why people are buying something. So you literally going out into the world like, oh, this is why this is, and then it's in a sense teaching you budgeting because you know how to sell. You're like, oh, he's just selling me on that. So you're naturally going to spend better because you know the psychology of capitalism is around you. You're like, okay, that's selling me. Oh, that's a good price. No, that's a bad price. So you're naturally just getting smarter. You got smarter because you know how to sell. That's the beauty of if people, like, that's the beauty of schools teaching sales.